In this video, we're going to be going over 4 different things, and we're going to be talking about what is happening in Utah when it comes to the infrastructures and businesses and buildings and building up a way to make it more business friendly. Number 2, we're going to be going over the transportation system, and literally we have so much room to grow in that one and what they're doing with the front runner and the UTA and all of your bus systems. Number 3, going over the housing market and how to make it more affordable in Utah, knowing there's a price gap with the income and the cost of living here in Utah. And number 4, going over all of the issues that we have with our weather, specifically with inversion. We're sitting here in winter time as you're watching this video, and inversion is a big deal and how we're going to try to help that, plus our water issue, all coming up in this video. Hi guys, my name is Jenny. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get to know me more as we talk about all things here in Utah, and that bell because it'll give you notifications for when I post a new video once a week. Until then, you guys, let's jump into the video. I want to bring your attention over to my laptop over here as we're talking about the first topic, which is Salt Lake's revolutionary projects, highlighting ongoing efforts to transform Salt Lake City, including the Delta Center, the National Hockey League team, and potential for building an infrastructure for new entertainment options in Utah and what businesses are coming in. Over here at KUERF.org, don't really know how to say that, but passes and fails of a recap of what's happening during Utah's 2024 legislation session. Okay, this was written in March of 2024, so a lot has happened since then, but that doesn't change a lot of the infrastructures that are happening here in Utah. So we are trying to resolve a 100-year vision here in Utah. We want to make sure that we're preparing for our future generations and the infrastructures of business and making sure our unemployment stays low, that we've got a good job infrastructure, and that people are wanting to move to Utah. The budget here, according to the state thing, is across a $29 billion state budget for a fiscal year of 2025, going to start July 1st. They call it the Bill of Bills. Your infrastructures for $300 million in investments of subsidized loans to build more affordable housing in the state, and $60 million for the homeless services, and $10 million for investments moving forward in Salt Lake. Then we have education here. The first 2 weeks of session, we went over education. This is a great website to talk about sensitive materials, the Natalie Klein, if you're familiar with that one, teachers' neutrality, school safety, the 10 commandments, lawmakers, school fees. All of this stuff is going to be included in here and going over the infrastructure here. Now we have a major baseball stadium that has been approved. It would increase tax sales and on rental cars to help pay for this, which means they're trying to pull forward so the people don't pay for it. It's not a big issue. The roads, infrastructures, we do know that we even have Olympics coming. There's a lot of things happening in Utah moving forward, but it's estimated to be $1.8 billion stadium. We also have a revitalization zones gave them a green light for a similar bill to keep around the Utah Jazz basketball team to downtown Salt Lake City. We also know that the hockey sports team just purchased the Southtown Mall Center in Sandy. So we're starting to see a lot more sports coming here in Utah. Now, I'm not a huge sports fan, but it does make a huge difference to getting people more interested in our state and bringing more people into understanding it, okay? Number 2 on this one is transportation. As you guys can see, transportation is a huge issue here in Utah. I love that I asked AI on this. If you look over at my screen over here, it says UTA moves 2050, a 30-year transit plan. They're trying to get more frequent services throughout the entire state, do more services on Sunday. We are a very high religious state, so they want more ability for transportation on Sunday when normally it wasn't a thing to do. They have an entire plan moving forward that is going to break down what is happening with UDOT long range of transportation plan. Okay. They want to create a performance-based plan that connects local, state, and federal transportation objectives. So as they're building the infrastructure, they're looking at the need of where the population is going in Utah. And the need of population is only going up, as you can see here on this graph. This is a 30-year projected plan, which means they need to have the job growth and the transportation to start matching that. They do have the infrastructures and the money that they're going to be implementing for this plan. And I'm really hoping that they start building more down towards Utah County. Salt Lake County is starting to get a lot better with their transportation system, but Utah County definitely could use more help in that area, if that makes sense. But right now you can take the transportation transportation to Pleasant Grove all the way up to northern Utah. And then in Salt Lake City, they have their own tracks infrastructure in there. Provo also has their own tracks infrastructure they built due to the high influx of students over there. But other than that, if you're in any other city, the chances of trying to get a bus system going is very rare. So the majority of the people are driving here in Utah, which causes an issue for our air. Because we have an inversion, the air stays in and trapped due to the mountains around us. And so we're trying to lessen the ability for people to drive, but that's not really what the issue is. And I'm going to show you when we get up to that topic. Okay, now that we've talked about transportation, that it's very much needed, they got money, they're going to be doing it, they have a 30-year plan. Moving over to the housing issue. So we're starting to see a lot of affordability issues and the demand for supply. So take your attention over to my screen. On this article here, it talks about the next big housing bill taking shape on what's included so far. It's a very recent article of November 2024. So optional, stay away from mandates while proposing a density overlay. So a lot of the issues in Utah is that we aren't liking the amount of people wanting to move to Utah, but they are wanting to adopt what is called a density overlay defined in a bill in the area that would allow a minimum of 8 housing units per acre. A minimum. That literally, guys, is 1,500 square feet on lots, no more than 1,500 square foot. That's very small land, which means it's going to be a lot harder to get land in Utah. Whereas before, you have a lot of people who are very used to the grazing of the lands and seeing the rolling fields moving down. The point of the mountain alone, every single time I look at that, it has just exploded with businesses and the lights that glow up, because I lived there when there was nothing out there. So we're only seeing more and more growth, and they're starting to see that they need to do more high rise and less land because it's becoming more of a city feel across the board in Utah between Salt Lake and Utah County. There are still options in your smaller areas and the rural areas or the up and coming cities to try to get some land. But as these new builders are coming in, they're building these homes on smaller lots. They're having shared driveways. Your townhouses are really small and close together. It's a different culture change that's having to be adjusted for the current residents that have been here for 30 plus years to see the houses so close to each other. And these tall townhouses that got 4 layers and they're all just packed in there in one. I will tell you, I saw something extremely crazy downtown Salt Lake as I was going down there. I saw a fence, a railroad, and then the front doors of townhouses. They were literally 50 feet from each other. I thought, this is crazy to have a railroad track that is active and moves and a house just right there. You wouldn't have seen that 30 years ago. But now here in Utah, we are starting to see this. And unfortunately, if you're not liking it, this is what we're doing because of the infrastructure needs here in Utah. So they have regional strategic plans for housing across the state that is meant to define success in housing policy in the regions, to set metrics and goals addressing housing shortage and projected population growth. They're just trying to fulfill the meat of the demand. If you're not liking that, then I can help you move, if that makes sense. I would love for you to stay. I love the old Utah, don't get me wrong, but I have to support what's happening and moving forward because the demand is there. Okay, so policy changes are trying to land use requirements to project a population growth. In states like California or Ogden are considered upzoning, requiring states to allow more homes to be built on less land, which is something that we're adopting here in Utah. The big question heading into 2025 is whether lawmakers will make more aggressive steps to tackle states' housing crisis and whether it will use the state's preemption powers to do it. I'm not saying anything's been set in stone, but they're definitely proposing this need to say more houses on less land. Obviously, we've got a problem that we need to solve. Housing affordability will continue to work on solutions, and this bill seemed like a better approach at this point than handling it down with local mandates. There are a lot of people in Utah who are pushing back on this, but there's so much demand that they're building what's called 15-minute cities. We have one in Vineyard that's just close to Orem, which I've highlighted before in the link above. And then we also have one that is being infrastructured where the prison used to be in the Bluffdale city, which is the neighboring city of Draper in Salt Lake County, which is also being proposed. The prison has completely been demolished and they're hoping to move forward, and the government owns that land, and then there's a private land on the other end. These 15-minute cities are going to give the infrastructures for people to drive less and have conveniences more local, which is also going to help our environment areas. Swinging on over to environment needs, we're going to be talking about how we're going to be how we're going to be infrastructuring a way to help our weather and our environment. One of the big two issues is the inversion, that is the air quality. We are a dry state already as it is. So we have dry air, and if you are someone who has allergies, we have all 4 seasons. On top of that, we do get inversions in this area because the mountains hold the air in. Over here on my screen, we have Utah's air emissions baseline. Okay, I find this very fascinating, and tell me what you think in the comments below. They have a goal on where they want to be, and they have a historical projection, and then moving forward what they think is going to happen. Look at this blue line, the point and the area. These right here are majority of localized large stationary sources of factories, power plants, foundries, and refineries, and chemical plants. This has been an issue for years. It's really hard to move these plants, but it is hopefully going to be coming forward. We have one in North Salt Lake. We have one down in Orem by Geneva that really create a large issue with our air quality. A lot of the reasons people keep thinking it's on road, but if you can see the yellow right here, the yellow is not as much of an issue as your factories are and moving forward. Now, we also have carbon dioxide base, not a big deal there for me. The challenges that they're facing is the population economy have grown faster than most other states. We're literally on the top 10 fastest growing states in the United States. The trajectory of 2 million residents added and then projected to continue to approaching a population of 4 million and 5 million. Growth and development comes with it more people, more buildings, more traffic, more economic activity, which brings many challenges and opportunities for prospects' futures. So they are really aware of the issues happening here and the health effects, why we have poor air quality, what it affects with their health-wise, looking at the effects of families and pollutions. It is a huge issue here. We don't have a high influx of people smoking, but the lung issues really are coming from the pollution. Not saying it's a drastic issue, but it is an issue that people are needing to address here. Statewide, we got the ozones, the green, the regional haze. Depends on what areas you're living in. A lot of the issues come across the Wasatch Range because those mountains are holding the air in. The nice thing is that we are working on trying to figure out our own climate. The second thing is water. A lot of people are getting upset and I'm trying to understand what we're doing with our water. We get plenty of water in our state, but unfortunately we do sell off our water. They make us conserve a lot of the water where we're not watering our lawn a lot. Because we are a dry state, our plants need a lot more water. So there is a lot of opportunity to try to change the water issues happening here in Utah as well. You guys, this video was so fun to make. If you are interested in talking about what your opportunities are and moving forward and moving in Utah, please click that Calendly link down there below. Schedule a time to meet with me and let's talk about your needs, your situation, and see if you financially can afford, because wherever you are, your home ownership starts right here on my channel. See you guys next time.